Colleagues, we begin our next briefing, and I will speak about 1,393 objects facilities should have been repaired in Kyiv on the expense of the city budget. We will have Galyna Yanchenko and Philip Alid, activists of Kyiv Anti-Corruption Bureau. Good morning, dear guests and journalists. Thanks for coming, and thanks to that you are interested how money of taxpayers go. Today we'll make a presentation of what anti-corruption staff prepared, and I helped this NGO, and today you'll learn how they spent 267 million hryvnia of taxpayers. You know that from Kyiv authorities we hear big statements, big-time statements. They are fighting corruption, that they are transparent and open. But in fact, anti-corruption group, and as a Kyiv Council member, a deputy, I see that those promises are nothing, just empty words. And during the work of anti-corruption group, we monitored public procurements, and we found out that such a field as repairing of the utilities, city utilities, that is a very corrupted activity, and there are a lot of abuses. I will not describe how the budget for repairing is created. It is done subjectively and with biases, and not transparently. So what I, as a deputy in the Kyiv Council, what I observed, budget needs, it's just something like you need, just whims of some deputies and some district chairman. So it's more the political interest or some kind of subjective interest. That's how they build the budget. But such approach does not reflect the needs, real needs, and of residents of Kyiv. That's why we decided to study that issue and to monitor how much they budgeted for repairing and how that was spent and how efficiently. We sent a request from a deputy's request to get information, and here I have it on 76 pages. This is a number of facilities with all information. So this is the way it looks like. This table on where to state administration spend money. I will give the floor to my colleague in Anti-Corruption Bureau and office. She will describe the method and how we collected information, how we processed it, and how we developed that map. And what interesting we found in a sense of numbers. Victoria Klitschuk, thank you. So the first step on the way to develop such a map, we sent the deputy's request to Vitaly Klitschko, the mayor and the head of the administration. We asked her to give information for how budget for repairing was done for 2014. As an answer, we received the full list of such facilities and repairing of those facilities, and on the basis of that we made our analysis, and we developed the map of repairing. The number of facilities is 1,400, and on those facilities during the last budget period they made repairing work for 276 million hryvnia. The biggest They repaired a lot of buildings and the schools, kindergartens. It's almost more than a half from all utilities, and also they paid a lot of for living quarters and for hospitals. So the plan of repairing of different utilities in Kyiv, they planned to do that. They planned to do external and interior work and capital repair of asphalt cover near the buildings, and also preparation the winter period as a separate kind of separate article in the budget. And also big money, a lot of money went to cover the debts for the period, the previous year. The biggest amount was spent for such an interior work as repair of central heating, repair of water supplies, hot and cold, and electricity lines. As to exterior, the main attention was paid to insulate and repair facades, to replace windows in the framework in order to improve energy efficiency of buildings. We found some suspicious facilities, and that's where we worked. They include $500,000 was spent to repair steps, or $500,000 to replace an elevator, and also $700,000 to replace windows in a kindergarten. And as a sign, $1 million was spent to repair a building. It's not a full list of suspicious facilities, but to check. One team cannot cover 1,000, almost 1,500 facilities. The task to develop the map of expenditures for repairing the city, we wanted to involve everybody who cares about that, and we wanted to get assistance over keywords and where violations are.
It is also worth mentioning that the position of Anti-Corruption Bureau and my principal position is as following. As Margaret Thatcher mentioned, there are no state costs, just money of taxpayers. And when we started doing the first steps in monitoring of the situation of those facilities and whether they were repaired efficiently, we found out that our money, the money of taxpayers, are treated as if those were money of the authorities and the communal utility facilities, and sometimes they just put them into their pocket. Let's have a look at one of the facilities. Let's have photos on the screen. One of the objects, one of the facilities, which was subject to repair, which was chosen by us for the analysis because one of the Anti-Corruption Bureau members lives in the vicinity and he agreed to have a look at the house. So this is a house that was allegedly insulated for the amount of 150,000 hryvnias. We have appropriate documents to substitute this figure. According to documents, this very residential house was insulated, was heat insulated the previous year, and according to the information provided by the Kyiv City Council, we have several copies, you may have one of them, and the money to heat insulate the building were already paid to the fullest extent. So this very building you see here is allegedly heat insulated, and it was insulated including 280,000 square kilometers of the facade, and as you may see, only 2 apartments were insulated, and the facade of the building was spoiled in that way. We communicated to people who live in this house, and they shared a dramatic history with us. what really happened. The communal utility facilities, which finalized all the documents and paid for this, carried out works to the fullest extent, did not have an intent to commence any works. On the example of this very object, of this very facility, out of 1,400, we see how the authorities treat our money. As I've mentioned from the very beginning, in what way the facilities are chosen. This very facility is quite new, and in Kyiv there are plenty more other facilities requiring capital repairs, insulating, and so on and so forth, but somehow, namely, these objects were chosen. Here we may see no works done, and nevertheless all the documentation is signed. So we see the falsification of documents. This is a criminal case, I believe, and in the nearest future, on the name of the Anti-Corruption Bureau, and on my behalf, we'll write appropriate requests to the Prosecutor's General Office, to other controlling authorities, for them to have a look at the situation, to understand who have spent the money and into whose pocket they went, in the amount of 150,000 hryvnias. Let's have a look at one more facility. And to crown it all, I'd like to tell you that these are very strange facts. If to speak about this very object, when we've carried out analysis, we found out that repairs, even if they were carried out ideally and really to the fullest extent, the amount of money spent on such repairs is too high. They claim to spend 150,000 hryvnias. I believe the sum had to be 60,000 hryvnias. We have compared market prices. Here you may see, maybe not clearly, but if you have access to internet, you may Google information and receive, so to say, an objective picture, a full picture of the cost of such works within the market. According to our analysis, the amount had to total 60,000 hryvnias. So, as we may see, half of the money were the surplus. So this is a criminal case. Let's have a look at another facility we've paid our attention to, namely that is repair of staircase in the housing facility, and the cost of such repair was 900,000 hryvnias. You may see this is a repaired house on the screen. In this very house, there are 9 stores, and so you see this repaired house. This is a masterpiece of repair, so to say. And to 36 apartments, we may calculate that 100,000 hryvnias was spent. You may only imagine what may be done for a sum like that. It appeared to be that the communal facility, utilities facility, and the subcontractor, limited liability company, have just replaced windows and made some painting works there. The same situation here, according to our calculations, from 20 to 40,000 were just overpaid at every facility. So someone has put several 100,000 hryvnias into the pocket. These were the first objects which attracted our attention, and as Victoria mentioned, after that we understood that obviously this is a systemic situation in Kyiv, that is systemic theft, so to say, and Every object was characterized by the same approach, if to speak about all the 1,400 facilities. That is why we decided to grant appropriate tool to the citizens of Kyiv for them to understand whether the costs are distributed appropriately, efficiently, and who steals our money. We have launched an interactive anti-corruption tool, which is called Budget Repair of Kyiv. So when I say budget, this is an irony because the repair was not made from the budget, but millions of hryvnias was spent, and the repair appeared to be inefficient. You may enter this very map through our site, Kyiv.org. You may magnify the picture, and you may see that this very map shows you different facilities. For your advantage, we carried out a typologization of residential buildings. They are in green here. Also, there are educational facilities. They are marked with blue circles, as you may see on the screen. Then preschool facilities, 313, also medical facilities, polyclinics, clinics, and other appropriate facilities, as well as social and cultural facilities. They are marked with blue color. This very map just does not just contain these objects, but clicking on the object, you may see a detailed information, which may help you understanding what happened and whether anything at all happened. Here you may see, for example, a housing, residential house. If we click here, we see that this is a preschool facility, number of such a school. Here we see Territorial Physiatric Association in Kyiv. Also, you may see the address to easen it for you to find this very facility. Then, subsequently, you may see in the next line the amount of money spent for repairs, types of repairs. For example, here you may see that what was done. It's difficult for me to read, so any repairs, maybe the windows were replaced, maybe the roof was mended. So this is a list of what had to be done and date of works completion. One more interesting fact we have revealed: the date of works completion does not coincide with what happened in reality. If to speak about this pink repair we showed you, the certificates of carried out works date back to 2009, but this does not reflect the reality. Also, you may clearly understand when the works had to be finished, when they were finished, whether they were carried out at all. So this is quite an interesting tool. Here on the top, you may introduce, you may print your address and have a look what happened in your district. Please, let's have some address there. That must be an address, Kyiv and Kyiv City and then the street. For example, Vasilia Zhukovskoy Lane, Kyiv. Kyiv City. And building number 10, this is one of the facilities we've introduced to you. And here you may see, if you live, for example, in this house, you see that it had to be repaired, and you may carry out comparison. You may reduce the scale and have a look what buildings, including not only residential ones, but schools, kindergartens, were repaired. Here you may see that there is a range of preschool facilities, schools, and if you enter one, if your child visits some of these preschool facilities, you may get to know whether the repairs was done there, whether the windows were replaced from the budget, or your money were spent on that, and whether the repairs took place at all. And the last we would like to highlight, last but not least, this is not just a tool we grant to the citizens of Kyiv, do whatever you want. Now we work with this map, and we work with all the citizens of Kyiv, as well as people who live in Kyiv and who come to us. If entering this map, you see some indiscrepancies between what had to be done at the budgetary expense and what was really done. We urge you to contact us with the information, maybe to provide us with pictures, with some. Please express your concerns. We'll check the information, and in case we substantiate that the repairs were not carried out, they were not carried out in full, or extra money were claimed to be spent, I, as a member of Kyiv Council, will write appropriate requests, letters to the Prosecutor's General Office, and take everything under my control.
To develop this map, this is not the end. We understand that Kyiv has enough of internet, but not everybody can use that resource or has access to internet. That's why in the nearest weeks we are planning to run an offline campaign, a big one. We'll publish an announcement with this information about every facility, how much, for what they were supposed to spend, and we'll distribute this information on every building. And even old ladies who 90 years old, they will get that information that the building must be repaired. So we are planning to involve every resident of Kyiv to check how efficiently our money is spent. And this is the map for 2014. We prepare the map for 2015. We hope that the work we do, that this monitoring and those criminal cases, which will help the prosecution to start because of the stealing money from the budget, that will motivate Kyiv authorities to steal less of our money, and in 2015 that money really will be spent the way they are supposed to be spent, but not in the pockets of some utility companies and some subcontractors. Thank you very much, Victoria and Galyna. Unfortunately, our next briefing will begin in a minute, but you can continue informal communication.